If you're a basketball fan, no doubt you've probably checked out NBA 2K14 by now. And if you've played any of the previous NBA 2K games, you've probably noticed that there's quite a bit different in this latest installment of the franchise. The developers at Visual Concepts added a ton of work to increase not only the gameplay, but a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff in NBA 2K14 that makes it so much fun to play. As any CG artist knows, one of the most difficult things to recreate is the likeness of a real person. That's why one of the things that impressed us the most was the level of detail that went into the character modeling and texturing for real-life players. And for the most part, they looked pretty spot on, like this shot of Kevin Durant here. They even captured the mannerisms of the way he moves in his animations. Even many of the fictional characters looked really good. If you notice, the sweat will actually grow as the game progresses, so the longer you play, the sweatier your character will become. It's a great little detail that the devs added. Some of the interfaces feel like a certain sports channel, but what's really cool is that they can even update with live scores from the real world. So it's a nice little touch to help make it feel like the game you're playing is just another game alongside the actual games being played in the NBA in real life. Unfortunately, though, we found many of the menus themselves to be quite simplistic, and actually they can be a little bit difficult to navigate at times. One of the biggest issues we had with the game was a lot of the cutscenes and how they provided a stark contrast to the realism that was provided in-game. For example, notice how the shadow of the character on the right side of the screen doesn't carry up to the wall. Now, there are multiple texturing issues in this next shot, but the most glaring one are the stress textures on the wood table in the foreground and the extremely pixelated photograph used for a texture for a window in the background. Or this scene where there are lots of areas in the car that are very obviously low poly, like the dashboard and the car seats themselves. When you compare these shots to something like this one here, where you can see the beautiful bump on the wood floor, it almost looks like two completely different games. A little more work in the cutscenes really could have gone a long way to help with the overall consistency of the game. Of course, with a sports game, a lot of focus is going to be when you're actually playing a game, and not so much some of those RPG-like moments that help shape and mold your character. In that regard, NBA 2K14 really shines. The controls and AI are really well done, and even down to a lot of the personalities and the way that the actual player plays the game. For example, a center like Kevin Love is more likely to take three-pointers than other centers in the league. The technical issues we did find in NBA 2K14 were primarily cosmetic and didn't detract too much from how fun the actual game is to play. So if you're a basketball fan, it's definitely a game worth trying out. Feel free to add Digital Tutors on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, and we'll see you online.